My parents kicked my kids out of their bedroom and moved them into the cold, damp basement. Why? To make room for their golden grandchild, my sister's son. When I found my children crying, my mother told me, "It's my house, Natalie, be grateful." I just smiled. She had no idea the house was legally mine, and the eviction process was about to begin. You won't believe what happened next. But while I was at work, they moved my children's belongings into the cold, damp basement. The click of the deadbolt echoed in the grand foyer. It was 9 p.m. I had just closed a 12-hour day analyzing market futures, and all I wanted was to kiss my kids goodnight. The house was silent. Too silent. Usually, I'd be greeted by the sounds of Emma and Tyler bickering over a video game or laughing at a cartoon. Tonight, nothing. Just the hum of the oversized refrigerator. My parents kicked my kids out of their bedroom and moved them into the cold, damp basement. Why? To make room for their golden grandchild, my sister's son. When I found my children crying, my mother told me, "It's my house, Natalie, be grateful." I just smiled. She had no idea the house was legally mine, and the eviction process was about to begin. You won't believe what happened next. A knot tightened in my stomach. I called out, "Emma, Tyler, Mommy's home." Only silence answered. Then I heard it. A faint, muffled sound. A whimper. It wasn't coming from their bedrooms upstairs. It was coming from below me, from the basement. My blood ran cold. I dropped my leather briefcase on the marble floor and ran. I yanked open the heavy basement door and practically fell down the carpeted stairs. The sight that greeted me punched the air straight from my lungs. My children. Emma, my bright 10-year-old. Tyler, my sweet 8-year-old. They were huddled together on a bare mattress. One of the spare guest mattresses, just thrown onto the cold, tiled floor. All around them, like wreckage, were their belongings. Their suitcases. Their toy chests. Tyler's bin of Legos. Emma's art supplies. All stacked against the damp concrete wall. The basement wasn't finished. It was where we kept holiday decorations and the old water heater. It was cold, and the air was thick with the smell of mildew and dust. Emma looked up. Her face streaked with tears. Her nose red. "Mommy," she whispered, as if she was afraid to speak. "Grandma Barbara said we have to move down here." I rushed over, pulling them both into my arms. They were freezing. "What do you mean, baby?" I asked. "What happened?" My little boy Tyler buried his face in my coat. His voice was small. "Broken. She said our room is for Cousin Ryan now," he whispered. "She packed our stuff while we were at school. She said Ryan is the real grandson and he deserves the best room. She said we make too much noise." I stared over their heads at the single dim bulb illuminating the room. I saw their breath fogging in the cold air. The real grandson. The words echoed in the cold basement. A sharp, icy rage unlike anything I had ever felt shot straight up my spine. It wasn't just anger. It was a terrifying sudden clarity. I kissed them both on the head. "Stay here for 1 minute," I said. "Don't move." I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth ached. I turned and I didn't walk. I stormed back up the stairs, my heels striking the wood like hammers. I was ready for war. I stormed up the stairs from the basement, my heart pounding a furious rhythm against my ribs. I bypassed the main floor and took the upper stairs 2 at a time, heading straight for my children's wing. Their room, or what was their room, was at the end of the hall. It was the second best suite in the house, just after the master. It had its own private bathroom and a large bay window that overlooked the rose garden. I saw it before I even reached the door. The door was wide open, and the room was unrecognizable. All of Emma's artwork had been torn from the walls. Tyler's star-patterned curtains were gone. Their twin beds were gone. In their place was a brand-new king-sized bed with an expensive-looking comforter. Basketball pennants were tacked crudely to the walls. A massive 80-inch television, one we did not own this morning, was mounted on the wall opposite the bed. A new gaming console was already hooked up, its wires snaking across the floor. And there, in the middle of the new bed, was my 9-year-old nephew, Ryan. He was jumping up and down, shoes on, laughing wildly. My mother, Barbara, was there. She was 63, with a face that had grown permanently stern from years of perceived slights. She was humming, her back to me, meticulously unfolding a new set of high thread count sheets. "Mom," I said. She didn't turn around. "Oh, you're home," she said. Her voice was breezy. She snapped a pillowcase in the air. "I'm just getting things rearranged. Your sister Jennifer and Mark are on their way. They're going to be staying with us for a while, and little Ryan needs a proper, quiet space." My voice was shaking. I could barely get the words out. "A quiet space," I said. "And you decided the best way to do that was to kick my 8- and 10-year-old children into the basement?" I gestured wildly down the hall. "You didn't even call me. You didn't think to ask me." That made her stop. She spun around, her face twisting into a mask of indignation. "What tone is that you're using with me, Natalie?" she said. "I am your mother. I don't need permission to rearrange things in my own house." She spat the words. "My own house. Your kids can stay anywhere. They're young. They'll be fine. Stop being so selfish. Honestly, you're 39 years old. When are you going to finally learn how to act right and respect your elders? My house." The words hit me like a physical slap, knocking the wind out of me. The shaking in my voice, the hot tears of anger threatening to spill, it all vanished, replaced by a sudden, chilling ice. My house. I remembered being 18 years old. I was the only black kid in my advanced placement program to receive a full-ride academic scholarship to a prestigious finance program. I ran home, clutching the acceptance letter, thinking this was the moment. Thinking I had finally made her proud. My mother was on the porch talking to our neighbor. I held out the letter. She barely glanced at it. She just waved her hand dismissively and said, "She just got lucky. All that affirmative action, you know." Then she looked at me. "Now you have to learn how to make real money to take care of this family, not just chase silly dreams with your books." I stood there on the porch. My great achievement reduced to nothing in an instant. And now, 21 years later, standing in the 6-bedroom, 5,000 square foot luxury home that I had paid for in cash, nothing had changed. The shock in my system evaporated. The trembling in my hands stopped. I felt my face settle into a calm, cold mask. My breathing became deep and even. She mistook my silence for submission. She huffed, satisfied. "Good," she said. "Now that that's settled, go tell your kids to keep it down. Ryan needs to rest before his parents get here." I looked at her. Really looked at her. I looked at the entitled child jumping on the bed. I thought about my own children freezing in the musty basement. I took one long, slow breath. And I smiled. My mother Barbara crossed her arms, a smug look settling on her face. She was waiting for the usual Natalie response. She was waiting for me to cry, to beg, to plead, to list all the reasons my children deserved to stay in their own room. She was waiting for the fight she knew she would win. In the corner of the doorway, my father, Robert, 64 and a lifetime of enabling my mother, did what he always did. Nothing. He just stood there, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable but saying absolutely nothing. I smiled wider. "Okay, Mom," I said. My voice was calm. Pleasant, even. "I understand." Her eyes narrowed slightly, suspicious. She hadn't expected this. "I'll take care of it," I continued. I turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Mom?" I said. I glanced back over my shoulder. "We'll talk in the morning. There are some things we need to discuss." "About the house." I didn't wait for her response. I walked down the hallway, down the stairs, and straight to the basement. My children were exactly where I'd left them, huddled on that bare mattress, waiting. I knelt down in front of them. "Babies," I said. "I need you to pack your overnight bags. We're going to a hotel tonight." Emma's eyes went wide. "A hotel?" she asked. "Like a vacation?" "Kind of," I said. I smiled at her. "A mini vacation. Just the three of us." Tyler looked worried. "But what about Grandma?" he asked. "Won't she be mad?" I smoothed his hair back from his forehead. "Don't worry about Grandma," I said. "Mommy's handling it." Within 20 minutes, we were packed. I loaded their bags into my car, buckled them into their seats, and drove away from that house without saying a word to anyone. My mother didn't even know we'd left. I checked us into the Ritz-Carlton downtown, a suite with 2 bedrooms. I ordered room service. Pizza for the kids. Pasta for me. We ate on the king-sized bed, watching movies. Emma and Tyler were giggling, bouncing on the fluffy mattress. The trauma of the basement already fading. "This is the best hotel ever," Tyler said, his mouth full of pizza. I smiled, but inside, I was calculating, planning, strategizing. That night, after the kids fell asleep, I sat at the desk in the suite, opened my laptop, and pulled up the documents. The deed to the house. The contract my parents had signed when they moved in. Let me explain something about that house. 3 years ago, my parents lost their home. They'd taken out a reverse mortgage, spent the money, and when the loan came due, they had nothing. They were about to be evicted. Homeless. My father called me, sobbing. "Your mother and I, we have nowhere to go," he'd said. "Can you help us?" I'd helped. I bought them a house. Not just any house. A 6-bedroom, 5,000 square foot luxury property in Buckhead. The nicest neighborhood in Atlanta. I paid $850,000. Cash. I put the deed in my name. And I had them sign a rental agreement. $1 per year. With specific terms. They could live there as long as they followed the rules. No subleasing. No major changes without my written permission. No interference with my children when I was at work. My mother had barely read it. She'd just signed, eager to move into the big house, eager to show off to her friends. She'd forgotten one crucial detail. The house was mine. Legally. Completely. Irrevocably mine. And she had just violated the rental agreement. I pulled out my phone, called my attorney. Daniel Kim had been my lawyer for 10 years. He'd handled the purchase of the house. He'd drafted the rental agreement. He answered on the second ring. Natalie, he said. It's 10 p.m. What's wrong? I need to evict my parents, I said. There was a pause. From the Buckhead property? He asked. Yes, I said. How fast can we do this? Another pause. What happened? He asked. They moved my children into the basement, I said. To make room for my sister's kid. They're claiming the house is theirs. I heard him typing. You have the rental agreement with the violation clause, he said. Yes, I said. Did they violate it? He asked. They made major changes, without my permission, I said. They removed my children from their room. That's interference with the terms. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I can file for eviction in the morning. Georgia law requires a 3-day notice. After that, if they don't vacate, we go to court. Do it, I said. Are you sure? He asked. These are your parents. I'm sure, I said. File the papers. The next morning, I drove the kids to school. Then I went to work. I didn't go to the house. I didn't call my mother. I just went about my day as if nothing had happened. At 2 p.m., my phone rang. It was my mother. I didn't answer. She called again. And again. 15 times in an hour. Finally, she left a voicemail. Her voice was shrill, panicked. Natalie, she screamed, there are men here. At the house. They're saying we have to leave. They're saying you own the house. This is some kind of mistake. Call me back right now. I deleted the voicemail. At 4 p.m., my sister Jennifer called. I answered. What the hell is going on? She demanded. Mom called me crying. She says you're trying to kick them out. I'm not trying, I said calmly. I am kicking them out. You can't do that, Jennifer said. Actually, I can, I said. I own the house. They're tenants. They violated the rental agreement. So I'm evicting them. Jennifer was silent for a moment. Then she said, You're doing this because of the bedroom thing? Are you serious? I'm doing this, I said. Because they put my children in the basement. Because Mom told me it was her house. Because she has spent my entire life making me feel small. And I'm done. You're being petty, Jennifer said. Mom was just trying to make Ryan comfortable. By making my kids uncomfortable? I asked. In my house? Jennifer huffed. This is ridiculous, she said. You can't just throw our parents out on the street. Where are they supposed to go? I don't know, I said. Maybe they can stay with you. With me? Jennifer shrieked. I don't have room. Mark and I are in a 2-bedroom apartment. Sounds like a personal problem, I said. And I hung up. That night, I picked up the kids from after-school care. Took them to dinner. Then back to the hotel. They thought it was the best week ever. 3 days later, Daniel called. The notice period is up, he said. They haven't left. We need to file with the court. Do it, I said. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. That's when things got interesting. My mother hired a lawyer. Some guy named Gerald Price. He sent me a letter. It claimed that my parents had, quote, an oral agreement that they owned the house. That I had promised to gift it to them. That the eviction was retaliatory and invalid. I forwarded the letter to Daniel. He laughed. This is nonsense, he said. We have a written rental agreement. Signed by both of them. This won't hold up in court. But Gerald Price was persistent. He filed motions. Demanded discovery. Tried to delay the eviction. My mother, meanwhile, was on a campaign. She called every family member. Every friend. Everyone from church. Telling them I was throwing my elderly parents out on the street. That I was heartless. Cruel. Ungrateful. My phone was flooded with calls and texts. From aunts. Uncles. Cousins. People I hadn't talked to in years. All telling me what a terrible daughter I was. I blocked every single one of them. I didn't engage. I didn't defend myself. I just focused on work. And my kids. And the upcoming court date. 2 days before the hearing, my father called. It was the first time I'd heard from him directly. Natalie, he said. His voice was quiet. Defeated. Please. Can we talk? I almost hung up. But something in his voice stopped me. What do you want, Dad? I asked. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Your mother, she made a mistake. She knows that now. A mistake? I repeated. She put my children in the basement, Dad. She told me it was her house. She has spent my entire life treating me like I'm worthless. That's not a mistake. That's who she is. He didn't argue. He just said, Can we work this out, without the court? I thought about it. Then I said, here's what I'll offer. I'll drop the eviction. If Mom apologizes. To me. And to my children. In front of the whole family. And if you both agree to move out within 30 days. Find your own place. He was quiet. Then he said, she'll never apologize. I know, I said, so I'll see you in court. And I hung up. The day of the hearing, I dressed carefully. Navy blue suit. White blouse. Minimal jewelry. I looked professional. Competent. Successful. Daniel met me at the courthouse. We walked into the courtroom together. My parents were already there. Sitting with Gerald Price. My mother wouldn't look at me. My father looked tired. Defeated. The judge was a woman in her 50s. Judge Patricia Morrison. She had a reputation for being no nonsense. All rise, the bailiff called. We stood. Judge Morrison took her seat. Be seated, she said. We Saturday. She looked at the file in front of her. Then she looked up. This is an eviction case? She asked. Yes, Your Honor, Daniel said. He stood. My client, Natalie Thompson, owns a property at 1247 Peachtree Hills Avenue. Her parents, Barbara and Robert Davis, have been residing there under a rental agreement for 3 years. They have violated the terms of that agreement. Miss Thompson is seeking to evict them. Judge Morrison looked at Gerald Price. Mr. Price, she said. Your response? Gerald Price stood. He was a man in his 60s, with slicked back gray hair and an expensive suit. Your Honor, he said. His voice was smooth. The notice period is up, he said. They haven't left. We need to file with the court. Do it, I said. The court date was set for 2 weeks later. That's when things got interesting. My mother hired a lawyer. Some guy named Gerald Price. He sent me a letter. It claimed that my parents had, quote, an oral agreement that they owned the house. That I had promised to gift it to them. That the eviction was retaliatory and invalid. I forwarded the letter to Daniel. He laughed. Judge Morrison read it. She took her time. Then she looked at Gerald. This document appears to be properly executed, she said. Notarized. Signed by both parties. What evidence do you have of this alleged oral agreement? Gerald hesitated. The testimony of my clients, Your Honor, he said. Judge Morrison looked at my mother. Mrs. Davis, she said. Do you have any written communication from your daughter promising to gift you this house? My mother stood. No, Your Honor, she said. Her voice was quiet. Any emails? Judge Morrison asked. No, my mother said. Text messages? No. Any witnesses to this alleged promise? My mother looked at my father. Just my husband, she said. Judge Morrison made a note. Then she looked at Daniel. Mr. Kim, she said. What violations are you alleging? Danielle stood. The rental agreement, Section 4, Subsection B, he said. It prohibits major changes to the property without written permission from the owner. The defendants removed furniture from 2 bedrooms, installed a new television and gaming equipment, and relocated the owner's minor children from their bedrooms to the basement. All without permission. Judge Morrison's eyebrows went up. They moved the children to the basement? She asked. Yes, Your Honor, Daniel said. Do you have evidence of this? I have photographs, Daniel said. He pulled out his phone. Projected photos onto the courtroom screen. Photos of Emma and Tyler huddled on that bare mattress in the basement. Photos of their belongings stacked against the concrete wall. Photos of Ryan's new room with the king-sized bed and 80-inch TV. The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison stared at the photos. Her face hardened. She looked at my mother. Mrs. Davis, she said. Is this accurate? Did you move your grandchildren to the basement? My mother stood. They were fine, she said. Her voice was defensive. It was just temporary. My grandson needed a quiet space. Judge Morrison's expression didn't change. Your grandson, she repeated. Not your daughter's children? Well, they're older, my mother said. They don't need as much. Ryan is special. He's the real grandson. The courtroom went dead silent. Even Gerald Price winced. Judge Morrison leaned back in her chair. The real grandson, she repeated. Yes, my mother said. She seemed to realize her mistake. I mean, he's my daughter Jennifer's son. He's the blood grandson. Natalie's children. They're from her marriage to that man. They're not really family. I felt Daniel's hand on my arm. Steady, he murmured. Judge Morrison looked at me. Miss Thompson, she said. Are you the mother of the children in these photographs? Yes, Your Honor, I said. And are these children your biological children? Yes, Your Honor. Judge Morrison looked back at my mother. I mean, he's my daughter Jennifer's son. He's the blood grandson. Natalie's children. They're from her marriage to that man. They're not really family. I felt Daniel's hand on my arm. Steady, he murmured. Judge Morrison looked at me. Miss Thompson, she said. Are you the mother of the children in these photographs? Yes, Your Honor, I said. And are these children your biological children? Yes, Your Honor. Judge Morrison looked back at my mother. That is not the court's concern, Judge Morrison said. You signed a legal agreement. You violated it. You must vacate the property. She banged her gavel. The defendants have 30 days to remove themselves and all belongings from the property at 1247 Peachtree Hills Avenue. Failure to comply will result in a sheriff's eviction. This court is adjourned. My mother burst into tears. My father just sat there, staring at the table. Gerald Price started packing his briefcase. Daniel turned to me. We won, he said quietly. I nodded. But I didn't feel victorious. I just felt tired. We walked out of the courtroom. In the hallway, my mother was sobbing. My father had his arm around her. Jennifer was there. She looked at me with pure hatred. Are you happy now? She hissed. You just made our parents homeless. I looked at her. Really looked at her. They had a home, I said. I gave them a home. For free. My client, Natalie Thompson, owns a property at 1247 Peachtree Hills Avenue. Her parents, Barbara and Robert Davis, have been residing there under a rental agreement for 3 years. They have violated the terms of that agreement. Miss Thompson is seeking to evict them. Judge Morrison looked at Gerald Price. Mr. Price, she said. Your response? Gerald Price stood. He was a man in his 60s, with slicked-back gray hair and an expensive suit. Your Honor, he said. His voice was smooth. So, yeah, I'm done caring. I turned and walked away. Danielle followed. That was intense, he said. Yeah, I said. We reached the elevator. As the doors closed, I saw my mother watching me. Her face was a mask of rage and disbelief. Good, I thought. Let her feel what I've felt my whole life. 30 days later, the house was empty. My parents moved out. They found a small 2-bedroom apartment in a less expensive part of town. Jennifer didn't take them in. Mark refused. So they figured it out on their own. I changed the locks. Hired a cleaning crew. Had Emma and Tyler's room restored exactly as it was. We moved back in. The kids were thrilled. Mommy, this is so much better than the hotel, Emma said. I'm glad, baby, I said. Life went back to normal. Sort of. My mother didn't speak to me for 6 months. My father would occasionally call. Brief. Awkward conversations. How are the kids? He'd ask. They're good, I'd say. And that was it. Jennifer cut me off completely. Told the whole family I was dead to her. I didn't care. I focused on work. I focused on my kids. And I finally felt at peace. 1 year later, I got a call from my father. Natalie, he said. Can we talk? About what? I asked. Your mother, he said. She's sick. How sick? I asked. Pneumonia, he said. She's in the hospital. She's asking for you. I was quiet. Then I said, I'll think about it. I hung up. I did think about it. For about 2 hours. Then I called Emma and Tyler into the living room. Grandma Barbara is sick, I told them. She's in the hospital. Should we visit her? Emma looked at Tyler. Tyler looked at me. Do you want to, Mommy? Emma asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Tyler spoke up. She was mean to us, he said. She put us in the basement. I know, I said. But she's still your grandmother. If you want to see her, we can go. If you don't, we don't have to. Emma thought about it. Then she said, I think we should go. Not for her, for us. So we don't regret it later. My 10-year-old daughter was wiser than me. Okay, I said. We'll go tomorrow. The next day, we drove to the hospital. My mother was in a private room. My father was there. He stood when we walked in. Natalie, he said. His voice was thick with emotion. Thank you for coming. I nodded. My mother was in the bed. She looked small, frail. Nothing like the woman who had terrorized my childhood. She looked at me, then at Emma and Tyler, her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I stared at her. What? I said. I'm sorry, she said again. For everything. For the basement. For saying those things. For treating you the way I did. I was wrong. Emma squeezed my hand. Tyler stood close. I took a breath. Why now? I asked. Why apologize now? My mother closed her eyes. Because I almost died, she said. And I realized the last thing I said to you was cruel. I realized I might die with you hating me. And I deserve that. But I don't want it. She looked at Emma and Tyler. I'm sorry to you too, she said. You're my grandchildren. Real grandchildren. I should have treated you better. Emma let go of my hand, walked to the bed. It's okay, Grandma, she said. My mother started crying. Emma patted her hand. Just like that. Forgiveness. From a 10-year-old child. I wasn't there yet. But seeing Emma's grace, I felt something shift. Not forgiveness exactly, but maybe the beginning of letting go. We stayed for an hour. My mother apologized again. And again. My father cried. We talked about small things. The kids' school. My job. The house. When we left, my mother said, "Thank you for coming." I nodded. "We'll come back," I said. "If you want us to." "I'd like that," she said. And that was that. Not a happy ending. Not reconciliation. But something. A crack in the wall. A possibility. 6 months after that hospital visit, my mother was better. Healthier. Different. She started coming to Sunday dinners. At my house. She played with Emma and Tyler. She asked about my work. She even once said she was proud of me. I almost fell over. It wasn't perfect. She still said things that annoyed me. She still had opinions about how I raised my kids. But she was trying. And that was more than she'd ever done before. My father told me later that almost dying changed her. Made her realize what mattered. I don't know if I believe that. But I know this. Setting that boundary, evicting her, making her face consequences, that changed our relationship. She learned she couldn't treat me however she wanted. She learned I wouldn't tolerate disrespect. And once she learned that, she started to respect me. Funny how that works. This story teaches that setting boundaries, even with family, especially with family, is not cruel. It's necessary. You teach people how to treat you. And if you accept bad treatment, you'll keep getting it. But if you stand up, if you enforce consequences, if you protect yourself and your children, people will learn. Or they won't. And either way, you'll be okay. Because you'll have protected what matters most. Your peace. Your children. Your dignity. And that's worth more than any family approval. Have you ever had to choose between your parents and your children? Have you ever had to set a boundary that felt impossible? I would love to hear your story in the comments below. And please subscribe, because sometimes standing up to family is the hardest and most important thing you'll ever do. Thank you for listening.